Okay, well, let's bring in a guest now, shall we? We're joined by Yunus of the Turkish Patriotic Party. Mr. Soner, welcome to the programme. It's good to have you with us. Now, what sort of impact do you think Merkel's re-election will have on Turkish-German relations?
Well, to put the context right, we interpret the German elections as follows. Germany has voted against the transatlantic alliance. So they voted, the German population voted against Germany's politics towards Russia, but as well as Germany's relations and politics towards the Middle East, or West Asia as we call it. And Germany had been following in these areas consistently a pro-Atlantic, pro-Washington position. Now this position was voted against. And the rising force, the winning force of the elections is the AfD, as you mentioned in the report. The AfD mentions or highlights the problem of immigrants. Well, we remember well that the problem of immigrants in Europe has been caused due to Washington-led interventions, military interventions in Iraq, Syria, Libya, and also partly in Turkey. So I think that this move, this election result, will cause a reorientation in Germany more towards Eurasia. That is, different relations with Russia, better relations with China, more distance with the United States, a more self-confident Germany, and of course that will also change Turkish-German relations. Because if you, for example, as the AfD points out in its program, work for a national and sovereign Germany, then you need to have allies, and Turkey is one of these allies.
Yeah, on Monday, Turkey's foreign minister said that Ankara is ready to take, quoting here, 2 steps forward to normalise relations if Berlin takes just 1 step. What step should that be to normalise relations? What would your country like to see?
Well, first of all, both countries, and especially if we speak about German elections, Germany has to be focused on its own national interest. For example, if you take American politics in the Middle East, these are supporting different armed groups, different terror groups like the PKK or the Gülen group. So Germany has to ask itself, is it in its national interest to support or to accompany the Americans in that policy? Obviously it is not, because beyond other things it causes a huge refugee problem and it deepens Europe's security problems. So Germany has to refocus on its national interest, and if it does that, then the problem will be solved by itself, because there is no structural contradiction between Turkey and Germany. There is no interest collision, antagonism, but differences, difficulties caused by US intervention and by Germany's traditional, but in these elections questioned, alliance with the United States of America. So the more Germany changes this, and this will happen, the more Turkish-German relations will become better.
Well, as you know, Merkel is now tasked with forming a coalition. Do you feel it could change her policy towards Ankara, and which parties would be key in determining a new direction?
Well, first of all, I think Germany is now facing the reality of President Trump. President Trump has declared in his UN speech that he is willing not to accept the Iran deal, for example, and impose on the world his rejection. Now Germany is confronted with the question, do they support the American line and accept the disruption of their relations with Iran by the will of Trump, or do they follow a separate path, a more Eurasian path? If they follow this Eurasian path, then they should regain their sovereignty, for example, in the Iranian politics, but also in Turkish or Iraqi politics, and move away from Trump's line. In that way, they would gain sovereignty back, and they would gain new alliances and new friends.